And I just felt worthless and got really depressed, watched a lot of TV, just gave up.
Kim, how did you find carnivore?
I had struggled with my weight a little bit, in my late teens, early 20s. And after I had our second child, I gained a lot of weight. I'm only 5 feet tall and I went up to 265 pounds. Um, got 100 pounds or so off. Um, but it was like constant planning and I was always hungry. It was the low fat, move a lot, that kind of thing back in the 90s. Um, and then, I got 100 pounds or so off, but I didn't ever get it all completely off. And then fast forward into my 40s, I started acquiring ailments, really bad high blood pressure. I worked a stressful job and um, smoked a lot, almost a pack a day. Probably drank at least a pot of coffee a day. um, and I just started, like, I got the high blood pressure and started having a lot of female problems that led to a partial hysterectomy. Got a couple of autoimmune disorders, um, cataracts, just like it was just over the last 10 or 15 years, it's just been one thing after another. So the autoimmune disorders were both skin related. One is psoriasis, and that's been my most recent diagnosis. But the other is chronic um, idiopathic urticaria, which is just a fancy way of saying that I have hives all the time, and the doctor's not able to determine the underlying cause. So they put me on a few different immunosuppressants, a whole bunch of antihistamines, and like I was still having to take all the antihistamines even with the immunosuppressants. So I ditched the immunosuppressants, and I was probably taking sometimes I was taking between 6 and 8 different antihistamines a day. And that really, of course, impacted my job. And so when the company laid off people it was just, I don't think the worldwide cough, was in play very much at that point, but they had made the decision to lay off a bunch of people, and I was included in that. And I was fine with it because we got a good severance, and um, I really didn't like the job anyway. But that particular company paid more than most others, so I stuck with it. Um, and I found another job, in just a few months, no problem. Um, and then after that, let's see, the hives seem to have kind of, like, I can't go completely off of antihistamines or they come back, but I've been able to taper down, and only increase, as needed, that kind of thing. So I'm doing okay with that. The psoriasis was the latest thing, and in between there, I had a really bad uh, bout of vertigo, and it just hit me out of nowhere. And having already had a leave of absence to have cataract surgery, just a couple of years after I started my last job, when I had the vertigo and I needed time off, they weren't willing to hold my job for me. And I understand, it was like 10 employees. They need people to be in the seat, to make them the money. Um, and so, I understood, but I had to take care of my health, make sure that it wasn't, I found out that I didn't have a stroke, and I didn't have a brain tumor, but really, um, one doctor says Meniere's disease, which I have reverse slope hearing loss. So most people lose it in the higher tones, and I've lost it in the lower tones. So men, I have a hard time understanding men and things like that. So my audiologist and ENT said Meniere's, but the tests say it's not. So does it really matter in the grand scheme of things? No. not really. It's just a name for something they can't do anything about it. So it is what it is. Um, Thankfully, haven't had any more vertigo, but lots of high blood pressure. And it got even worse after I lost the job, and then I wasn't able to find a job. It was like right at the beginning where jobs were just really starting to get hard to find here. And most of them, the pay wasn't very good, but as long as I could work at home, because like we have chickens and dogs, and my grandkids and my daughter live with us, and so it's busy, and I need to be here. So as long as I could find something where I could work at home, it was no problem. But I couldn't even find anything where I could go to an office. Like I wasn't even getting calls back when I would send out my resume. And then I talked to this recruiter that my friend told me about, and she was like, "I'd hire you right now. Your resume is amazing." I was, top of the food chain at my previous job, and without going into management, which I never wanted to do. And so I'd spent all these years building up that experience, and now I'm being told by this recruiter that I need to dumb down my resume to find a job. And I just felt worthless and got really depressed, watched a lot of TV, just gave up. And um, then I happened to see one of Dr. Westman's Dr. Reacts videos where he was talking about, I think it was RFK Jr. and what he's been banning or whatever. And honestly, I have no idea, so I had to watch it to find out what was going on. But and then of course the algorithm brings up all the keto things, and I was like, yeah, I tried keto before, it didn't work for me. Because I've tried everything, I've done everything, all of it, you know. And so it didn't work, and I just kind of skipped over it. But then I came across one of Dr. Chafee's videos, and it was like explaining all the stuff, and it like really got my interest. And then I went on to Dr. Fetke, and then I saw a bunch of your videos where you were talking with just like not the superstar people, not that there's anything wrong with them, but just regular normal people like me, just whoever, and the things that it did for them. And I jumped in the next day. That happened to be May the 1st of this year. Very next day I was in.
And wow, so it's been about a month.
Hmm.
What have you noticed that's changed for you in a month?
Some things have been pretty amazing. I get my psoriasis breaks out on my face. I have a little bit now, but also on my hands and on my feet. And I was just starting to get a breakout on my hands, and it stopped in its tracks. Like I have nothing. Like just this little. It's just red from just being previously there. Um, the third day, I woke up in the morning and or after the third day, so I guess the morning of the fourth day, and I have recently aggravated my Achilles tendons on both both feet, and it was the right one, and then it switched to the left. So I got up and just about to start the day, and like I could walk, and it didn't hurt. Um, I was just like so happy, because I hate just sitting around and doing nothing all the time, but when it hurts to walk, then it hurts to walk. Um, I I was able to completely wean myself off of coffee. So I'm off coffee. I'm working on getting off dairy, and I quit smoking um, May 15th. So 2 weeks after I started carnivore, I quit smoking, and I used nicotine patches for a few days, and we had done some really heavy duty yard work, and I was just too tired to even go put on the patch that day, so I just didn't, and I just never have since. And I don't even
And
like it
that's just the self-control's improved? Is that what it is?
so much. My I'm so much more focused. I'm like, I want to do all these things, and my body's like, okay, but you've been sitting for a long time, so you need to go slow, you know. But yeah, like so much more self control than I was my daughter forgot that I was doing this and brought me chocolate for Mother's Day, and I was able to say no, thank you, and it was right there in front of my face, and I was able to say no, thank you.
That's awesome after just 1 month,
Yeah,
or not even at that point, right?
yeah, yeah. It's it's like it, your mind craves it. It craves that, like, your mind craves that creamy consistency or whatever that you know, it's not always just the taste. Sometimes it's the texture and it just all goes together. And so your mind, like, sometimes will crave that, but I'm able to just, you don't need it. You don't need it. Have some butter. And I do. If it's really that bad, I'll just have a little piece of butter and move on.
That's awesome. So, was it difficult at the very beginning?
To I had already given up. Like, I wasn't eating pasta, bread only once in a while. We don't eat a lot of potatoes. We never ate a lot of rice. Um, and my family is really picky about vegetables anyway. So, like, I was the only one that was eating them, you know, or my daughter, you know. And so, no, not really. It was a little bit hard to, like, eat. Like, I'm tracking my food, so that I can get an idea of, okay, well, this is what I ate and this is how I felt, you know. Um, but so it was a little bit difficult to eat enough calories because of just like that, all that meat, and I wasn't doing that. My thing was ice cream and um, potato chips and cookies and all those great things. And no, it was like I really concentrated on the fat at first, and I think that helped maybe to curb that craving, you know.
Right. And so, what is the day like as far as eating goes for you?
Um, so I haven't really been able to pin down anything super consistent on that yet. Usually during the week, when my husband's at work, I'll eat twice a day, and that's usually about 8 o'clock in the morning and around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't feel like I sleep as well when when I eat late, you know. But he doesn't usually get home from work until like 5:30, and he's not ready to eat right away, you know. So I'll sit with him and you know, I make him the things that he wants, you know. But I'm doing twice a day. But today it's a holiday for us, so um, we're gonna have dinner together, all of us. So I've only eaten. I ate super early this morning, and then I had a kind of an early uh, lunch, and then I'll have a third meal today. So it kind of changes, you know. I haven't been really consistent on that of being able to develop that schedule yet.
Right. But it must be nice to not feel guilty when you are eating, though.
Yes. It like you don't even like have like I don't even have the cravings to it crosses my mind, but it's not something that um I focus on anymore. Uh, eating like I made sweets for my husband. He likes them, and he's not doing carnivore with me, so I made him sweets, and I didn't even want to eat it. Like I had no desire, and normally I would be like, oh yeah, you know. No, I just it's all gone. It I eat until I'm full, um, and I'm good.
Right. So at this stage, like what are your immediate kind of goals going forward? What would you like to see happen in the next few months?
Well, weight loss, of course. I'd like to get off my blood pressure medication. I take two different medications for that right now. And uh, my grandson is old enough that and he has a membership at the gym, so we're gonna start going to the gym and doing some um, weights and things like that to kind of get my strength going, you know. And then of course I'd like to lose weight and start to feel even better. Um, I have been able to start walking our dogs every day. Um, I skipped today just because it just got late and we're in Arizona. It got hot, so but I've been walking them every day, and I'd like to keep that up, but add that strength training in there so that I can be stronger. And then by the end of the summer, I'd like to be able to do a hike over at a local park that we've gone to before and hike. It's kind of uphill, some of it, and I'd like to at least be able to hike up to where there's supposed to be a waterfall, and um, and do that by the end of the summer. Be able to walk that far.
It, it's nice. I feel like, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like what happens when you start eating this way is, of course, as we talked about, you get that self control. But also, what happens is you start to feel like things are possible in the future, you know? So, like, whereas before, you wouldn't have been thinking about doing these hikes and all this kind of thing. And now it's like, okay, well, this is possible. Maybe in a month's time, maybe in 2 months' time, maybe in 3 months' time, I can be doing this and this and this. And it's like the future just opens up.
I would definitely agree. Um, I've always liked hiking, loved to go camping, um, but I can't like do anything, you know. I can't walk very far. I can't go enjoy the things with my family that I want to. And now this makes me feel like I'm gonna get there. You know, it's gonna happen, and I'm determined to make it happen as soon as it's cool enough here to do that.
So, regarding the weight loss, you mentioned that at your top weight you were 265 pounds. What is your weight now?
The when I started on this, I checked and I was at 236.6, and I'm not checking. Um, I can
So, is it
depend
more of, for you, you feel like it's more of how you feel and how you look rather than what the number is on the scale?
to start. Yes, I would start to obsess about that number on the scale. I'll be honest, you know, and so I don't want to discourage myself. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna wait 90 days, and at the 90-day point, after I've added in going to the gym, you know, and then by then I'll have 60 days of the gym under my belt, and um, the walking and all the things, and um, at that point I'll weigh myself, and because the number on the scale won't, hopefully I'll see those physical changes in my body and feel them, and so the number on the scale won't be discouraging if it's not what I want it to be.
And how has your family reacted to this?
My daughter and my kids are like, "Oh, that's great, mom." You know, um, they're whatever. My husband just doesn't want me to do anything too extreme. Um, you know, we've been together almost 35 years, and he just I've given him some medical scares recently, and so he just doesn't want any more of those. But sees that I'm like my whole attitude is so much better. Like I'll joke around with everybody and things like that, that I wasn't doing before. So he's supportive. He's barbecued me a whole uh, meat extravaganza today. So
Awesome. That's awesome. So I wonder if you'd come back, Kim, in a couple of months and let us know how things are going.
sure, sure, I'd be happy to do
It'd
that.
be uh, it'd be great to have you back on and see how you're progressing, and also maybe coming back on gives that extra incentive to keep up with things. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would. Thank you so much. I would really enjoy that.
Yeah. So in the meantime, if people want to reach out to you, do you have any social media or any way of getting in contact?
It would just my name with no vowels. So it's my email. It's kmbrlybrtn@gmail.com.
I'll link to your email in the show
Okay,
notes.
thanks.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time, Kim.
I really appreciate you having me, Dave. Thank you so much.